Hi, I'm Jim Shaw from the Colonial Times Magazine, also chairman of the board of LexMedia. We're here today on Friday, April 3rd, for our daily update with a member of the Board of Selectmen, and I'm pleased to have with me today Jill Hay, who's just about finishing your first term, I think, on the board, right? Are you come up for election?
Two out of 3 years in.
Great.
Except that I think this last month counted as an extra year. I
think so. It seems so much longer than 2 years, Jill, I have to say. And I know you've been working hard, and you're currently the vice chair of the Board of Selectmen. I have to say the Lexington Select Board. Thank you. It's, old habits die hard. I still call Lexington Ace Hardware Cunningham Hardware, and that's going to go over a lot of people's heads, and they don't know why, but trust me, it means something to people who were here 40 years ago.
Right.
So,
and the Select Board, Selectman thing has been, it's been a stumble for a lot of people, and it still is for all of us, actually.
Yeah, it'll come around. It's a good thing. It's the right thing, and people will come around to it. I wanted to welcome you and talk a little bit about what people can do to get to stay informed. I know we're doing these updates every day, every Monday with the town manager, and then Tuesday through Friday with a member of the Board of Selectmen. But there are ways that folks can stay up to date. They don't, we love the fact that they're watching our updates, but they can go to the town website as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
talk a little about that.
I'm happy to. So I do think that these, little video updates are terrific because a lot of people prefer to hear it. But I strongly recommend that people do use the town website. We have a page that is dedicated to COVID-19 updates. If you can just go to lexingtonma.gov, and there's a banner, whether you're on a mobile device or on a laptop or a desktop, and that will link you to all of the most current information about what is happening in town, what cases are being reported, what options there are. There's a link to the state dashboard, which is up now, which will give you information across the state by county, by town.
I think it'll also link you. I think when I went on the dashboard, you have also the capability of seeing what's going on around the country as well.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It will link you to, so it goes with Massachusetts first, and then it goes down through each of the other New England states, and then you go broader and broader. So you can get as much information as you need. The state's doing a great job tracking that.
They sure are.
The other options on our website, you can link through to sign up for Code Red messaging, which will give you any, emergency updates. There is information about what's happening in the schools. There, importantly, and we can talk about this a little bit more, but there are links to our economic development resources, which will tell people what businesses are open, who's delivering, what the changes are. There's a lot of really useful information, both calming information to tell you what's truly happening, and then opportunities also to be involved, to donate, to help. We've seen an outpouring of people wishing to volunteer to help their neighbors. And there are many, many safe ways to do that, as well as, of course, financial ways as well, if you are able.
And they can also sign up for the town emails, right?
Yes, and that's always the case. But certainly now, if you want to make sure that you're getting push notifications from us about a host of different topics, but most importantly, right now, everybody is concerned about, health-related topics.
Mm-hmm.
So,
great.
That's a really, really useful for many, many people.
Mm-hmm. So I noticed that you were talking a little bit about it. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. I know before we started this thing, we talked about the importance of, before we started our discussion, actually recording our discussion, we were talking a little bit about the importance of supporting local businesses. I know you mentioned that the Economic Development Office has a list of businesses I know that are operating, and I think it's important for people to be able to sort of resource that and find out just who it is, and then make the effort to support them.
Yes. Those of you who know me know that I am a devoted cook, but I am actually making an effort to get takeout at least once a week, simply to support local businesses, because I think it's really important. We all love the community and the vibrancy of Lexington, and it's important to all of us that it still be here when we are able to go out and walk to our neighboring restaurants and our businesses. And so I think that it's, you know, a small thing that we can do. The state is trying to help. Last night, the State House passed the latest set of measures regarding emergency relief. And a lot of it is very technical, and it will certainly help us with things like response times for filings. There's a lot of relief relative to town meeting and to municipal governance and finances. The governor is expected to sign it today, but one of the nice provisions is that any restaurant which has a liquor license and is open for takeout may now also provide takeout of sealed alcoholic beverages. Mm-hmm. So if you want that bottle of wine with dinner, or you want a bottle of beer or anything else that comes in a sealed container, I apologize. Those of you looking for the gin and tonic will not be able to get that unless it comes in a can. But that is, I think, something to really try and help some of these small businesses also, because as we all know, that is a large percentage of, you know, the economic viability of restaurants. So I think that's a piece of help. But I also, if you go to the Lexington Town website and there is a link directly from the COVID information page, but there's also on the economic development page directly a list of what businesses are open, what their modified hours are, who's doing takeout, who's doing delivery, and you can really get a nice variety of interesting food that you don't have to just have pasta, pizza, and whatever else is left in the back cupboards of your corners of your kitchen.
Right. Well, you know, I've been out and about myself a little bit, very safely, by the way, keeping my social. Somebody talked about this the other day, keeping my physical distance. I think we talked about it yesterday, the difference between social distancing and physical distancing. It's important to check in on the ones you love, so don't be too distant from them. But keeping my physical distance, I've gone around. I was over at Neilio's the other day. I know we featured them on the cover of our publication on the last issue. And, you know, you can get really every day you go onto their website, they will tell you they have a menu of what their daily specials are. So you can tell it doesn't have to be a guessing game, and you can get great fresh meals, very healthy meals. Yeah.
And I love that they are a terrific example of pulling together. You know, we keep saying we're all in this together, but I love that Neilio's has partnered with Busa Next Door, and you can get a meal and a bottle of wine together as a package. And it shows, first of all, that it's, you know, creative thinking about what people are looking for, but also the idea of businesses really pulling together and figuring out what are some new partnerships, what are some new ways that we can support each other. So I think that's really going to be one of the keys.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Jason Denoncourt, who's the owner of Abbott's Frozen Custard.
My hometown.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. You've known about Abbott's.
I grew up on Abbott, so I know Jason well.
So you know about the allure of frozen yogurt well before it was introduced to us here in Lexington.
Frozen custard, not yogurt.
Yeah, frozen custard. I'm sorry, frozen custard. Yes, but frozen custard. It is so good. I got addicted to it within no time at all. But you know, he's looking to reach out, and I'm putting them together with Kevin O'Neill from Neilio's, and they've been closed, but they have just launched, you know, sort of on demand. So if you go onto their website or you call them or visit them on Facebook, there are ways for you to be able to order like a Sunday party or Sunday box that they will drop off at your home. And, you know, they're looking to work with other food purveyors as well, people who are offering food. So you can get the full thing. You can get the bottle of wine to go with your meal now. And also here's dessert as well. So it makes it that much more special. So your point is well taken. It's nice to see that these businesses are finding ways to sort of work together and support one another. It's really hugely important. They're doing it. We should do it too.
And we should. You know, we all love this community, and part of what makes it so special is all of our small businesses. So it's important that we really help them out. And
go ahead. I'm sorry. No, please.
Now, I was going to say, you and I were talking a little bit before that, you know, the CARES Act has a lot of elements in it for small businesses.
Right.
And yet because it is federal legislation, it is confusing, and there are a lot of intricacies to it. And also on the town website and on the economic development pages, there are a number of links with support for how to apply for the various elements of the bill. So if you're a small business and this is what you are interested in doing, please go to the town website. If you don't find what you need, if you need more information, feel free to reach out to the Economic Development Office. We will try and help wherever we can. I know that some of the initial filing openings are today, so I hope that people are already taking advantage of that. But we really do want to support our business community as well as our citizens.
Right. Well, and we had, we were very fortunate to have Representative Catherine Clark on with us the other day, and she very generously offered folks the opportunity to contact her office as well. And I'm not saying they shouldn't call.
That's probably better.
Well, no, I don't think it's better. I think you start at the economic development website and get some information, but as you sort of navigate into the process, if you're having difficulties, that's when you contact Representative Clark's office. And on the state level, I know Michelle Socolo has been extremely responsive, as has Senator Friedman and Senator Barrett. We've, in Lexington, we're fortunate to have two senators that represent our community. So, it's a twofer, and they're both just good people and very effective public servants. All three.
And also reaching out to us, trying to help us as well. So they really have been very proactive in all of this, all of them.
Well, these resources are there, and people should absolutely take advantage of them. Whether you're let's say you're an employee. In some cases, some of the restaurants have closed because they weren't really geared to that takeout, like Il Casal. And Filippo De Magistris, who's the owner of that, he and his family live here in Lexington, and they're doing wonderful things for their employees. I noticed that he announced that they're getting a lot of calls for gift cards over there, and people are buying them to show support. But what he's decided to do was to take half of the revenue that's generated through the gift card sales and put it into a fund for his employees. He was covering health care for up to a certain period of time for his employees as well. So everyone's doing everything they can. And these programs and loans and grants and all of these resources are out there. People should reach out. I know that, go ahead.
I just was going to say, I want to also note that, it's not just the businesses for whom we're putting out all of these resources as well.
Right.
There's a large amount of information available through the Human Services website. And that they have put out a list with many, many resources for individuals, with everything from help if you need help getting groceries, if you need help getting a referral. We have, partnered with William James Interface for the last just over a year now, which, for a lot of people are struggling right now with anxiety. And if people are looking for resources in the mental health arena, we have that. We have neighbor brigades. We have a lot of different human services resources, which are available at any time, but in particular are in demand right now. And so there's a consolidated list of those resources as well through the Human Services Department. And that link is also available on the town website.
Yeah. Well, I think people would be very impressed if they get once they get onto the town website and take a look at actually what's going on. The front door to town hall may be closed, but I'll tell you, town government is not shut down. People are working hard, and wide to make sure people get what they need in this community, whether it's, support through the human services, small business, and the spirit, and this kind of deviates a little bit, but the spirit of sort of giving back and being helpful and being neighborly is really taking off. Like I was watching with my wife Laurie last night. We were watching the 2020 Futures panel, and we heard Dr. Hackett talk about a young fellow who had Sonny, who's the son of our member of the on the school board, and he has a project going on with some other high school students in the robotics program where they're making 3D masks. And so we're looking at that. I think we may give him a little call and see if there's something we can do to write about it and let people know about it. And also, Jessie Steigerwald is a name that people may remember, who served on the school committee for a lot of years. She's working with about 25 other people in town, and they're spending a big part of their day sewing and making masks that then are available both locally and to other places. Like, I understand that Pine Knoll Nursing Home will benefit from that, and some of the other local facilities, as well as other organizations that sort of serve a broader constituency. So I just love these stories, when people are really coming together and stepping up. It's really what a community is all about.
I agree. And I think, we're seeing an amazing outpouring of support of people trying to help each other at all different levels. And one of the sort of heartwarming pieces, and I know LexMedia did a little video about this, was, how Lexingtonians have latched on to the bear hunt story to give children something to do, which also I think is helping to lower anxiety, gives you an activity that makes you think about something outside the house, which you're not getting to a lot, and keeps your focus on it. So I think that's been delightful. And I'm very proud of how we're all sort of pulling together on many, many different levels.
It does make you proud to be a Lexingtonian.
Always.
It really does. Lexington is not, as much as we all love Patriots Day, it's not all about what happened in 1775. So
true.
It's great. And I'm proud to be a lifelong Lexington resident here. So it's, and I'm proud to know people like you, Jill, who are really stepping up. I think the elected board here, along with the volunteer boards like the Board of Health and others, I mean, you guys are putting in countless hours. You could never have imagined when you stepped up to serve on the board that it would come to this, but you're all rising to the challenge, and the town is better off for it. And I know I can speak for myself that, how appreciative I am. I'm sure others are as well. So.
Well, thank you. And actually, I want to make the point that, for instance, the Board of Health, who are working 24/7, the public health department in particular, going in and out of people's homes and helping monitor, and our public safety, our first responders, our public facilities, the public works staff. I mean, we really do have an astonishing workforce of people who are really literally putting themselves in harm's way and coming in and out, all the things that we aren't doing, because by doing our part, we're staying home. Right. We are separating ourselves from the rest of the community in order to help slow this curve. They are at the same time going into the proverbial fire.
Right.
And we cannot thank them enough.
And I want to underscore, our heroic contribution is staying home.
Yes.
We don't all have to be firefighters or police officers, public safety personnel to be considered heroic. I mean, people know how difficult it is to stay at home. They're doing it, but it's so important, but people do have to go out. I saw, it's like, it was kind of a sad thing. Yesterday, I was at the grocery store, and I saw a customer really get rude with a cashier who's there. These cashiers are coming out, they're essential workers, but they're not police officers. They're not firefighters. They're not trained every day to go out and put their lives on the line. So it's new to them. So I encourage people to be patient out there and appreciate the fact that there are other people out there, who probably would rather be home, and be safe with their families, but they're out there doing these things that need to be done. Without the groceries, we're all in a bad place. So I just caution people that, people should, employ a little patience.
I think that's right. I think you have to recognize that everyone who you encounter is at least as stressed and scared and confused as you are. And some of them don't have the luxury of only going when they absolutely need to get something and can't get an appointment with Instacart, which, by the way, I have not yet managed to get a single slot. But
right. It's hard. Well, it's like we talk about the local businesses, I think it's important to, check too and make sure they're open. Some of them are changing their hours, like Wagon Wheel is now closed for in-store shopping. So, but you can go online, but I understand from reading on their website today that they have no more slots today. So if you want to order groceries, they're taking orders from Monday, it looks like. So plan ahead. But you're right. It's like, you know, and I know Wilson's, you talked about Wilson's when we were off camera. You know, they've got a couple of different resources for shopping at home.
They do. They
so,
do.
Yeah.
And,
so you
and
can,
I know a lot of people have been able to take advantage of it. I actually have been going myself to Wilson's because I have a mother who lives alone in town. And so it's a twofer. I go to Wilson's and I bring her groceries. I drop them over the balcony and then I back up. She comes out onto the porch and we can have, you know, a 5-minute conversation from 10 feet away. And then she gets her groceries and I go home. And that's, you know, the one thing that I do each week, and she doesn't leave the house at all. And it's heartbreaking. But
and Wilson's is a great place, you know, like every place else. But you know, they've got people working around the clock over there. You know, when my son interviewed Scott Wilson, he talked about, you know, the fact that the bakery workers come in and they're doing multiple shifts. They're doing extra loads of trucks. They're actually sending their trucks out to places like Shaw's Dairy and Drake-It to make sure they've got good, fresh, local dairy. They're making breads, all the essential items. Plus, they have prepared meals. So. Fresh fish. It's not like it's you know, if I know people know this because people go to Wilson's, but they have the best, you know, they have wonderful produce and it's all there, but it's so much more than produce.
They do. And I spoke with Jim Wilson last week and he was, you know, they're doing all of this on a much reduced staff as well. But they're doing an incredible job of keeping the store clean, keeping the store stocked, and trying to really be the resource for the community so you don't need to go out into some of the larger box stores or the chain stores where there's a little bit of less control. Right.
And I think it's a simple plea. You know, support local businesses first, if at all possible. If you can get it local, make the effort. It's so worth it. Because in the end, you know, somebody was saying, you know, when you don't see the names of Walmart on the back of Little League jerseys in Lexington, just doesn't happen. We constantly are going to our small businesses to support everything from the Lexington Education Foundation to Little League. So, you know, this is one way we can show our appreciation. Anyway, we've gone on for a while. Jill, I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add. Otherwise, I think we should end it there. As much as I enjoy talking with you. And it's fun doing it this way.
Well, I think the only thing I would feel remiss if I did not add, since this is a special update during these times, is that people need to keep in mind that no matter how careful you are being, we don't know exactly how this spreads. And we don't know exactly where it is, and that anyone could be, because we know that people are contagious before they are symptomatic. You have to be very, very careful. If you and I have each admitted to leaving our homes, limited ways, but still, you have to be incredibly careful if you do so. Wipe things down, wash your hands as often as you can. I know there's a lot of conversation going on right now about whether or not masks should be worn by everyone, but at a very minimum, try to keep, you know, you're a good 6 feet away from anybody that you come in contact with if you do leave the house. I
come to my office and I usually stop on the way home, you know, somewhere like at the grocery store or Wagon Wheel or Wilson. The other day I stopped in Danilio's, but, you know, the protocols are in place. I mean, some places have put markers on the floor to help you understand how far 6 feet is, you know, so we employ these. There's nobody else that comes to my office. I'm here by myself. Even the post person, our postal worker, a letter carrier, puts the mail through the slot, doesn't come into the office. So I think, you know, we're trying our best to employ, but for the most part, I do have to come out in the business I'm in, you know, at the Colonial Times and with LexMedia, we have to venture out. So, but we do employ a very high level of caution when we do it. So anyway, well, Jill, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. I hope your mom's doing well, being by herself. I know that you're checking in on her. People, I'll say this, and I should say it every time, check in on your neighbors, call them, particularly if they're living alone, and let them know somebody's really caring for them and thinking about them. It's a neighborly thing to do. So with that, have a great weekend. Thank you for your time. And
Thank you.
We'll talk again next week, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.